So, my name is my name is Afsane Cooper. We finished two sessions of we finished two sessions of this lesson about the CAD 3D training, and I'm using the software TurboCAD Deluxe 2D 3D 2016. In this lesson, I'm going to complete the session 1 and 2 by explaining things that I couldn't show it in my video camera. So this way, with Blueberry, I'm showing the screen rather than just the people in the movie. For this project, we go to the file here. In file, click file, and click file, click open, and then to start a drawing you go to templates, and then you go to the student 2D, and then open. This screen comes. It's already set up for a student 2D, and you start your 2D project in here, and then you work further because the screen is already set up for you. All these toolbars are here, and the palettes on the top. The palettes are the ones that you can change them, but the toolbars you can change them, you can drag them everywhere, and as we go I explain the relevant toolbar to you. We go here again because I have used already a student 2D and draw my 2D my 3D profile for the object that is a shape like a rectangular shape with one hole in it. So it makes us faster, and we just go file, open, and I go, instead of template this time, I go to the drawings. So my drawings and task 1. So this is a task 1 that I created. You go to model space, you start your drawing in the model space. This is a 2D drawing that I have already done in the model space. So I start working on this project. In session 2, we couldn't go further because the camera stopped, and now I'm going to teach you the continuation of what we were doing. In here, we reach to the point that demonstrating what to do with this one, with this 2D object. At the beginning we started talking about the model space. In model space you draw an object, and then you have to transfer this one to the paper space for printing it. Model space also referred to as the graphic editor. All this area is called graphic editor, and you start your drawing in model space. Model space, also referred to as the graphic editor, is the area in which the sketch geometry or model of the drawing is produced at full scale. Annotations in the form of hatching and dimensions are also produced in the model space area. A view of the drawing is created, which is then inserted into the paper space layouts. So when we created this two-dimensional shape, we want to print this one, so therefore we have to go to the paper space. Paper space, at the bottom of this drawing, graphic designer, at the bottom of the graphic editor you see A3 landscape. That means the paper that we are printing is A3 and it is in the shape of landscape. So this is a a A3 landscape that I did the top view, shifted it here. But how do we do it? The way you do it is that you go and create a view. So therefore you press view, you say named views, and then create a view. You press create a view. So then it asks you the name of this view, say task 1 dash top view. Okay. Now for inserting the viewport, we have to insert this one into the paper space. To do this, we go to view and we go to viewport, viewports, and then click on viewport. That is up here. And then in paper space, that is A3 landscape, you will see a border of this drawing is up there. You have to drag it, hold the handles and drag it and bring it to these corners, these 4 corners of this, to have your paper space. So from this corner to this corner to this corner to this corner is the paper space that you adjusted to that level. That is how you bring the view of that object to this paper space for printing. And then to print it, you press File and you press Print. Just normally you print, and when you bring this one here, you have to viewport. This image is called viewport, and this viewport needs a scale. You have to scale it, and a scale in this one, better to, in the printing option, you choose the scale of 1 to 2 because it fits into A4 paper. So therefore so we went through here, and now we are in the so we go to the model space, and then we want to create a 3D object from this 2D object. We just go to the modify and join polyline at the bottom, join polyline, and when I click the join polyline, then I have to also click on all these edges on these sides of this shape to choose it, choose the object, and then at the bottom in here, when I click the modify and I click join polyline, at the bottom there is a flag with black and white, and when you put your cursor on, the word finish comes. Click on finish, so there will be a polyline created around this 2D object that covers all the gaps, because these two lines reach together. There might be a small gap, you don't see it, and if you have gaps between two lines that intersect, you cannot make a 3D object. You have to close all these perimeter of this object with a polyline to join all the seals and all the holes. So therefore you do this one, and then you want to, after you did this one, if you want to hide this, if you want to go and extrude this one, you have to use a simple extrude. to do the simple extrude, you go to draw, you go to 3D object, and then you choose 3D profile based, and then simple extrude. So when you place simple extrude, this extrusion tool sweeps a 2D profile in a plane perpendicular to the work plane. To create a 3D object, select the simple extrude tool and select a profile. Then you click on the profile. Use the keyboard to access the height. Here is written height. You type 20. So height be 20, and then you click this lock to turn blue from yellow. Then that way you make this object 3D, and it looks like this object. That is 3D. But in the past I have already done this to save time, so I just clicked on isometric view so you can see it. Now this one has got hidden lines. We want to get rid of the hidden lines. To get rid of the hidden lines, you go to View, Visual Styles, and then you go Hidden Lines. All these hidden lines will disappear, and then we want to paint it. To paint it, we go to we click on this draft rendering, or you go to View, a Visual Style, and then Draft Render. You click, and it covers it with a grayish color, and this is a render one that it is nice to present it as 3D view. You can also manage the material that is made of, and choose the material to be a steel one. Now now this lesson is finished. We want to go back to the view, visual style, and wireframe. So this is the wireframe, means it shows the hidden lines. So if I'm going to create this hole, that is the lesson at how do we create a hole in this 3D object. So what we do to create a hole, we bring this coordinate system that starts from this corner to the top to place a work plane. The work plane is the plane that the 2D object is drawn on. That one, that is a work plane. Now the work plane that we created, the 2D object, the X and Y of it start here, and this is a work plane. Right, we want to shift this work plane to the top one. So we say place on work plane. So we want the 2D object that we draw it with a circle on it comes on the top surface. So the work plane has to move. Work plane by facet applies a work plane to a selected facet, flat surface of a 3D object. The page up and page down key can be used to cycle between the available facets of the solid. the work plane will be moved in a parallel plane so that it is seated on the top surface of the model. Okay, so what we do to shift this work plane for creating a hole, the hole is at the bottom work plane. We want to shift this work plane on the top. That starts from here. So what we do, we click on View, Visual Style. No, we did already this one to the wireframe. Now we say Modify, we click on Modify and then Place on Work Plane. So this one is this Modify Place on Workplace. This places the selected object onto the current work plane. So what has happened that we want to shift this work plane on the top while it is at the bottom. If we go here and now if we are going to do this, this is the work plane is at the bottom, we put it on the top work plane and see what happens if we do this, still at the bottom. So if we go here on the top top toolbar, that is all these are work plane related. If we click on this work plane by facet, we click on this one. This one applies a work plane to a selected facet of a 3D object. Okay, so you see that this one is a new coordinate. If we move this dashed line to this corner and click the mouse, so the coordinate system from this corner has moved to the top. You see, this has moved to the top. So if we go to this view from the front view, or this is not, we have to do more work on it. So we go here and we go work plane by facet, we go further, we put it on here. Then if we do this one, it is exactly on this corner. It's sitting on this corner. So what we do, we go again to isometric view to see it better. So we shifted this work plane that we created, the 2D object, we shifted it to the top surface, and now by doing this we have to shift the circle that was at the bottom to the top as well. So we say a modify place on work plane. This places the selected object onto the current work plane. So we have to go and select the object. So what we do to select it, we go to the 2D view. That was the top view. and this one is the object that we select. We click on it, circle, okay, this one, we selected it, and then we say modify, we go to modify, and then place on work plane. Place on work plane is here. We click on this one, and then when we click on work plane, place on work plane, this one, the bottom circle that was at the bottom page will come on the top, and then we have to select a simple extrude tool by going to draw, 3D object, draw 3D object, 3D profile based, simple extrude. So when you click on simple extrude, it gives you a height. Then because you have brought the circle to the top surface, you give -30, because the height of this object 3D is 20 millimeter. It has to be bigger than that to create a hole, or similar to that. So make it 30. So because the circle has come now to the top, when it is going to go down, the height is negative. So you give it -20, and then it creates a hole. That I have done this before, and you can see I hold the wheel of the mouse. So, and if I click, if I turn this one upside, see, if I turn this, you see the hole? You see the hole is created. And if I turn this a little bit, like this, you see completely the hole. So I press southeast, so it sits on its plane like this. This hole will be created, and that is called extruding downwards. That is a hole. There is other ways of creating hole by Boolean facet tools and 3D subtract. That is not the subject of this lesson. So thank you very much for listening to us. I have covered most of the things that learners could not see in this lesson. Now we want to print this document that is a 3D, and we just want to have a top view of it to be printed. So we go to the A3 landscape, and we have to use the dimensioning for the dimensioning of this object that I have already done this to save time. So to do the dimensioning, we go to dimension, click dimension, and then orthogonal dimension, and click orthogonal. When you click orthogonal, you click this point, and this will give you a dimension. But similar to this, you do it to all of this, and make sure that one of the rules of engineering is that the dimension lines like this